think I owe you guys an explanation. So as you guys can see, there's no single cam in here anymore. So I guess let me start off by telling you guys what happened. So I was letting my girlfriend drive my car, right? And it's a rainy day. This is a story time, I guess. So it's a rainy day and heading to work. She's heading to work and I said, go ahead, drive the car. So she calls me when I'm like about to get to work and she says like, hey, the car just turned off on me, like out of nowhere. I'm in the middle of a lane, like can you come either get me or send somebody, like send a tow truck, somebody, do something, because the car, like there was no shoulder, so she was kind of like in the middle of a lane and people were like inches away from hitting her, stuff like that. It was real sketchy. So I headed over there and I sent over a tow truck. And yeah, when I got there, the guy was already loading up the car. And I don't know, I just had a feeling the way she was like talking about it. She said like, yeah, it made a funny noise and it just shut off completely and now it won't start. So I don't know, in my head I just kind of had a feeling. I was like, man, I think it's the engine. And I told her that. I was like, I think it's the engine. She was like, why do you say that? And I was like, I don't know, I just have a feeling. So I right away got it towed to my boy Lexi's built. Like I've told you guys, he's really the only other guy that touches my cars. I trust that man with anything. He's the one that I told you that got my car, my M5 back up and running like nothing. He's done a couple of my K swaps, turbo car, stuff like that. So had it taken straight to him. I didn't want to like deal with it, so I just took it straight to him. And when I got there, or the car got there first, I went to go do a couple things, then I went over there. When I got there, he was like, hey, so he's like, what happened? And I told him pretty much what happened, what I just explained to you guys. And he told me, well, the engine's locked up. And I was like, okay, like, you sure? And he was like, yeah, it's locked up, like crank won't spin at all. He tried everything. Yeah, it was locked, it was done. So he was like, what do you want to do? So I was like, I mean, it'd be kind of pointless to go ahead and throw in a, you know, another single cam or do a manual swap, something like that, like on just a stock single cam. Because I mean, like labor wise, what he was going to charge me and everything, it was just kind of, it just wasn't making sense. So I don't know if some of you guys, or if all of you guys that are watching this have me on Instagram. If you don't, go ahead, follow me. I put a lot of stuff on there. But so I had a red Integra, an LS that I had picked up with my brother that we're planning on just cleaning up, enjoying for a bit and selling. And so I started thinking about it and I was like, man, like what should I do? And Alexi was like, man, just try to find you a swap, but don't do a single cam, let's find you a swap. And then he was like, honestly, it'd be easier if you just got a whole car and we just did the manual swap, everything we needed, we just throw into this one. So I was like, all right, I mean, I totally agree with that. So he was like, I mean, do you know anybody with like an Integra or an EK? And I was like, damn, I have one at the house. And so I was like, I have one at the house, right? And he was like, all right, what do you think? And I was like, well, I gotta talk to my brother first. So went ahead, talked to my brother, ended up just getting it off of him, and literally we threw everything from the Integra. It was a complete LS, completely stock. The mileage of the car was like 160 or something like that, but I believe the car was swapped before. I mean, I remember the kid that sold it to me told me at one point that he had swapped it with a different LS from a different car at one point because it blew up. But I knew that this LS was healthy, like super healthy. I don't know what it is about it, but it moves and it feels so strong. So yeah, so I can't tell you the mileage on the car, but so we ended up doing that. We ended up swapping everything over, everything. And yeah, I mean, we ended up like I said, we put everything over, complete LS swap. All I did was I picked up a set of EM1 mounts. I could put them in the link or the description. The link in the description, you know what I mean. Then I picked up a T bracket from an EM1 because the EM1 is the only chassis that came with a B series in it, and the mount on the back is shorter. So if you guys are planning on doing a B series swap to your EK from a D series, you have to pick up that rear T bracket. It's shorter. So I picked that up. I picked up some mounts. Then so we went to go swap it. And where am I going with this? So we did it. It was all kind of in a rush. This is the only thing I really do regret, that we had to rush it, because I had planned on doing an LS VTEC built, you know, just for a turbo kit, and that's the end goal for this car. I'm gonna say it right now, the end goal for this car is an LS VTEC turbo with AC and power steering. That's the dream right there. I used to have an LS VTEC turbo car, but it had no AC, no power steering, and I loved the car. I loved it, but I didn't drive it as much because it didn't have AC. Mainly power steering I can do without, but I'd like to have both. But so it didn't have AC, but this time around I definitely want to do AC, power steering, turbo, LS VTEC. I know I could do a GSR or, you know, something like that, but they're kind of expensive now, and doing an LS VTEC is a lot more affordable. So yeah, so what I'm trying to get at is I hate that I had to rush it and do just a straight LS, and that I didn't get a chance to clean up the bay the way I wanted, you know, paint the engine bay for one. What I've always had planned was, when I do end up pulling out the single cam, I was gonna paint the engine bay all at once, put all new hardware, all new brackets, everything like that all at once, you know, have it really, really clean, paint the block, all that. But since I daily drive this car and it happened like at once, and I didn't really have the funds to do everything at once, you know, I just had to do what I could do. So that's what we ended up doing. And yeah, this is the finished product. I mean, I have to definitely clean it up. I haven't touched this since we did the swap, and I've been driving it now for like about a week. But I definitely have to clean up the engine bay, get rid of any grime that we had left behind, vacuum it, wash it as much as I can, steam it. Then I'm gonna do what I did with the EM1, clean up all the brackets, put as much new hardware as I can for now, you know, before I do really dive into it, and which I do plan on still doing later on. Pulling everything, paint the engine bay, under the hood, everything, and do it the right way. It's just didn't have a chance. But yeah, the car's been running amazing. While we did the swap, or we were doing the swap, we had an issue so we forgot that my automatic transmission did not come with this bracket that you need for a manual transmission, and so we had to go on a hunt for that. But make sure, if you do or are planning on doing a swap from like a automatic to a manual, you pick up this bracket right here that is a 3-hole mount, and I believe the automatic is a 2-hole mount, so make sure you do that. But other than that, what else could I tell you guys? So he worked his magic, man. That dude is a monster. He ended up figuring out a way to make the distributor work with the harness I had, even though the plugs were completely different. Don't ask me, I don't know how he did it. My knowledge isn't that far yet, but he did that. We ended up using a stock LS ECU. He got rid of the immobilizer. That stuff I can't get deep into because I don't know how he does it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wish I did. I really do. Would have saved me some money. But yeah, we were able to get the AC and power steering back in. I just have to get the AC recharged, but I love that we were able to do that. And yeah, this is how it sits. So I know I really do wish I could have recorded the process, but I don't like to shove a camera into people's faces, you know. A lot of people, you know, they don't feel comfortable with that, you know. I didn't want to be over there recording him while he's doing the work and stuff like that. But I got pictures of everything, and I'll put it on my Instagram if you guys do want to go follow me, if you don't already. But yeah, so I do wish I could have got that, you know, behind the scenes of us doing it, because now it's just kind of like, it's annoying to have to come here and just be like, oh yeah, this is what happened, you know. You know, on YouTube you want to see it, you know, be done. But so another thing, we had for now cut the pedal for the brake because the integral one is different. The integral one is different, so we just had to cut that one and then put the clutch one, of course. But oh look, I ended up putting finally the EK9 armrest elite, and it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look weird that this is black and this is gray. In person, they kind of look exactly the same, not gonna lie. But what I'm trying to say is, I'm missing the shift boot right now, which I need to get, but we had to cut, if you guys can see that section right there, that was a bracket that held on the cable for the automatic. So we had to cut that out to be able to put the linkage there, and so now it's just exposed right there. But I'm gonna be covering it up with probably some heat resistant foil tape, and I'll show you guys when I do it. And I'll finally get a shift boot, nice shift knob, all that good stuff. But yeah, that's the only thing that's kind of off right now. I got to cover that up, and if that was covered up, you'd honestly never be able to tell that this thing was swapped, because it's so smooth. Like, I'm about to take it on a drive right now and I'll show you guys, but I mean, it drives perfect. All right, we were able to line up the flange for the B series headers to the single cam headers, and then he made some contraption to be able to, because the bolt holes were different. Like, it was like, let's say the flange was right here, the holes were right here, mine was like that. So he made some contraption to be able to, to be able to hold them together. So it's on there. The car is real nice and quiet. It'd be super quiet in here if I didn't have this gaping hole right here. Pause. But yeah, so I'm gonna show you guys. This thing drives so smooth. Like, if somebody got in this and I had a shift boot on here and I put the tape on there so it'd be quiet, you'd literally never know. You'd never know that this thing was swapped, because it drives perfect. There's no weird idles, nothing like that. And this thing drives nice. Like, I'm telling you, I don't know the mileage of this LS, but I'm pretty sure it's low mileage because this thing is healthy. Check this out. This thing is the shit. I know you guys heard that third gear grind. I guess, yeah, it has a third gear grind, but I'm not too worried about it. I'm planning on probably redoing everything with new synchros anyway. But if you guys saw, this thing is so healthy and it sounds amazing. Like, it's all induction noise. It sounds so good. You know, I don't like my cars to be too loud or anything like that. But yeah, this thing, it pulls pretty hard. Like, I've had a couple different B series. I've had a B16, A2 from an EM1. I've had a B20. I've had a GSR. Let's see what else. I think I've had everything, honestly. Turbo cars, all that. This thing drives super well for what it is, and I've never felt an LS this strong. But you see, I do something like that and the car smooth, quiet. I love it. And you know, other than the fact that I have no AC right now because I need to recharge it, it's been amazing driving this thing every day. It is way easier to catch up to people, or it's a lot easier to get around people in traffic. And I mean, I've been enjoying this thing a lot more now. Like, I hit corners harder, you know. I honestly, I think that's the first time I did an actual pull in it, just because I personally don't like to like beat on my cars, and I felt nervous, you know, the first week having it. But yeah, this thing drives really good. So that's it for now. Like I said, I'm sorry I couldn't, you know, get that footage of us actually doing the swap, stuff like that. I'm gonna put up pictures on my Instagram, like I said, at Japatheory. Go ahead, give me a follow. If you guys are watching this for the first time, I do, you know, a lot of Honda stuff, and this is what I love to do. I have an M5, but the Honda stuff is my shit. And I have an Integra Type R, like a lot of you guys know, but I don't show it as much as I'd like, or I should, because really there isn't much to do to that car. That car is already perfect, I think, other than like major things like paint, stuff like that, you know what I mean? There isn't really much I want to do to it. That's why I don't show it much, and that's why I like to always have something like this in the stable that I can do whatever I want to it. I don't have to stay, you know, completely period correct. You know what I'm trying to get at. I like to always have that car that I could do whatever the fuck I want to. So I don't know if I should be cursing, but like I said, guys, like, comment, subscribe, all that. I'm trying to really stay more consistent, and yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
When I wake up, my tent drops, I'm frozen, my wrist shows it. When I wake up, my tent drops, I'm frozen, my wrist shows it. Ballin', breaking laws, drop a nigga for some raw. I ain't fucking with the bras, take another hit apart, yeah. Lost V8 start, Devin doesn't talk, yeah. Riding through the city with my baby, let me